Hi everyone, welcome back to Be Rich. Today we're going to talk about the third in Charlie's 25 psychological tendencies, and this one is called disliking and hating. It's a 180 opposite of the last one, which was liking and loving, which I did with Kesav. Unfortunately, Kesav was held up today, so I take this one out by myself. So, what is disliking and hating? Disliking and hating is a polar opposite of the previous one in the sense that once you form a negative bias or a negative opinion about something, anything that's related to that becomes toxic. It's very hard for you to break out of that, and you'll tend to believe that anything related to that is very bad. So, this could be the first impression they always say is the most important impression for the simple reason of this. If your first impression seems to be negative, it becomes very hard to break out of that mold. So when you join an organization, that's why they say be very careful on the first few days, the honeymoon period, to be very careful because you'll be setting impressions on everybody within the organization. It's not only the top, not only the colleagues who are working with you, even the security guard. Be kind and be nice to them because you're setting an impression on them. And that's important. Once you've established a good relationship, a good rapport, then you're pretty much safe. Pretty much safe, meaning it'll take a lot for you to ruin it. But if you have ruined it from the get go, let's say you're very rude or very curt the first day when you're walking through to the security guard, that impression is set that this guy is not a very friendly guy, this guy has a rather personality problem. And then after that, whatever you do, it'll be very difficult to come out of that mold. Even days later, you realize you were rude and you apologize. It's not going to shake that off. And that negative association can be amplified because once someone has a negative impression of you within an organization or within a structure, it spreads like a disease, it spreads like wildfire. People start discussing, people start talking about it, and it doesn't stop. And that spread is very difficult to reinforce and stop, even if you have people who are friends in the organization who will be vouching for you and saying differently, saying, no, no, it's not true. So keep all this in mind when you do approach something which is absolutely fresh and absolutely new. Interaction of the first nature is what is most paramount and important. Let me give you an example also. Even let's say you have a accident, someone bumps you in the car, in the back of your car, and you get down and you start discussing or arguing about who did what. You'll be far better in trying to be calm and quiet and let the other person vent a little bit. Because as soon as they finish venting and you immediately say, okay, I'm sorry, even if it was not your fault, let's get past this. You will be setting an impression that you are someone who can be spoken with and worked with and negotiated with. This goes a long way into solving the situation. So, this is how liking and hating can be explained in a interpersonal manner. This same thing can happen in also in consumers. Let's say as a consumer, you use a certain brand. Let's say you have a Nestle product or a Cadbury's very famously suffer this for their chocolates. Supposedly it came out that there were some worms found in some chocolate of Cadbury's. And that had a huge negative impression on their brand. And their brand value cratered. And not only was the dairy milk question, every single chocolate made by Cadbury became questioned. And it became a media blitz because media is always looking for something which is clickbaity, which is going to garner eyeballs. So it went on wildfire. Then they had to use the nuclear weapon and go big Amitabh Bachchan and to use his personality and his stage presence, as they say, and his loyalty and his love the Indian people have towards him and his trust in him. They used him and they brought the Cadburys back into the fold. That's how extreme it becomes when something gets disliked or hated. You will have to take an extreme step trying to persuade people that it's not so, that it was a mistake and not to become like that. And you see this especially true in political situations where political polarization takes place, where people tend to believe in a certain ideology and a certain dogma. And once they kind of get baked into that, they believe the other side is not even human anymore, that they're below human. And that takes shape in extreme forms. And you can see this happening throughout the world. So I would ask you to keep that in mind and to guard yourself against it. That's what even Charlie talks about. not only is it important to learn about these psychological tendencies, is to see these psychological tendencies taking an impression on you and affecting you. And you see it in sports rivalry. You see, how the Indian fans were reacting to other countries. It is rather appalling to see that happening, but this is what happens when an instance in the past is etched in the memory. It kind of permeates through history, and people who are not even affected by that event seem to think they have vested personal interest in it and they want to be part of it, and they're out for vendettas. Vendettas and feuds are also based on this, where generations of families you can see, and you've seen so many movies also being made about this. So, in complete exaggeration, of course, but it's still there in our Tamil Nadu society, where you see rivalries between families, rivalries between villages, rivalries between sections of society going on generations without even really knowing what happened and when it happened and why it happened. Some folklore is being told and they go on with it. So, this is something you see in society. So, how does this all reflect into investing? Of course, it comes into investing because we are also creatures of habit, and these kind of behavior patterns, when we exhibit it somewhere else, we also put it into our investment, because our investment is finally based on what we feel about something. Yes, we do look at numbers, we do analyze numbers, but somewhere along the line, our personal feelings and opinions also start weighing in, especially in India, because we can't really rely on the numbers. So you have to keep this in mind. Are your investments purely on an investment level, or are you using your opinions and your views and your likes and hatreds? Are they fueling poor choices in your investment? So this is something to think about in terms of implication of this law, or not law, I would say, of this tendency. Disliking and hating is what Charlie was talking about. And once you know how it works, you can call it out when you see it in other people and help them get over it. Of course, Charlie also talks about people using this in a very negative way, in a very poor way. If you are someone who's a political leader or you're in a position of power and you want to create a more polarized base, like what Trump is doing in the US, you can definitely, create a fervor in your base and encourage them into behaving in a very poor manner and liking and disliking. You saw him do that with Hillary in the first election. Now he's busily doing this again, playing the victim card and showing that everyone should hate everybody else except him because he's the victim here. It works sometimes, but sometimes it doesn't work. We can call it out. And I hope a majority of us can see this kind of behavior pattern in society. That's what Charlie hopes for, that we do educate ourselves and enlighten ourselves and not try to fall into these traps. Anyway, thanks for watching this one, and I'll see you in the next one soon. Bye.
So after Kuwait, my team has decided to do an event in Trivandrum. Those who are desirous of meeting me in Trivandrum can contact our team at trivandrummp@gmail.com, the mail ID given below, or the WhatsApp number given below. My team would fill in you with the details. The event would be in January 2024. It's a great privilege and honor that so many of you in thousands have subscribed to my channel and have supported me. I have written 2 books in English, The Alchemy of Money and Ordinary Stocks, Extraordinary Profits. These books are published by us and are ready. If you want to procure a copy, send us a message to the WhatsApp number given below and my team would respond to you. If you want an Amazon Kindle copy, you can click the link below. Finally, those who wish to consult with me can send a mail to berichenglish@gmail.com. Once again, I thank you for your support. If you like this video, press the subscribe button of my channel, hit the like button and turn on the bell notification.